This is my Week 14 recap of the NFL season. This is not going to be including the Eagles-Chargers game tonight. I'm recording this right before it. I do think the Eagles are going to win. I don't think the Chargers are legit. I don't really want to talk about that at all. I want to talk about Shedeur Sanders and Kevin Stefanski. You know what? And as I was looking at this game, I thought this was a typo. You know, the rushing yards, the leading rusher for the Browns, I thought this was a typo. And I thought this was a typo also, the leading receiver for the Titans. I thought this surely had to be typos. He only threw 117 yards? Cam Ward, I'm sorry? Oh my, Tony Pollard was insane, nuts. And the leading receiver for the Titans was Tyjae Spears with 28 yards. The leading rusher of the Browns was Shedeur Sanders with 29 yards. Dylan Sampson had 4 yards, and Quinshon Judkins had a whopping 1.9 yards per carry. Shedeur played amazing. 4 touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 3 through the air, including that beautiful kind of like hover moon ball-esque to Harold Fenton. I wouldn't say a moon ball because it was only like a 20-yard pass, but a great lob from him. But Kevin Stefanski might be Benjamin Netanyahu in a mask. Kevin Stefanski is maybe, you don't get to be on the worst team and be the worst head coach. Mike Vrabel was a great head coach on a terrible Titans team. Was that Mike Vrabel's fault? No. But this might actually be Kevin Stefanski's fault. He might be the most incompetent head coach, at least I know right now. I would rather have Chip Kelly as a coach than, and I'm a little confused. When I looked up who was calling the Browns plays, it was their offensive coordinator. I forget his name. It was something Reese or some shit. Who gives a fuck about who the OC of the Browns is? It's because that 2-point, that 2-point conversion was atrocious. The attempt, how do you have not even a quarterback, a player who has thrown for 350 plus yards, and he's your leading rusher? So what the fuck? You don't have the best player on your offense right now. You don't have on the field. For why? So I'm thinking, what is the OC thinking? A terrible call by the OC, because I had to look it up right after because I was appalled. It was disgusting. And then Kevin Stefanski does an interview right after saying, I make all the decisions. Well, I can tell. I really can't tell because this team is awful, but not because Shedeur's doing everything not to be bad. You know what? Let's not talk about the point. Shedeur put up 29 points, which is amazing. Putting up 29. What are you gonna say? He was responsible for 24 points, right? Your kicker had 5. What I'm more disappointed in is how bad this Browns defense was. You're gonna let Tony Pollard run all over you? Tony Pollard? We're not talking about Tony Pollard 2 years ago. Tony Pollard? I'm not saying he's not a good player. Tony Pollard would be a better running back on some better teams. However, the Titans' offense is awful. We're not even going to say awful. Atrocious. Awful. O-line is awful. Terrible. You only get 1 sack on Cam Ward? Awful. And the Titans lead in penalties. Good Lord, man. What a terror. I feel awful for Shedeur. The defense didn't help him out at all. Defense helped out Cam Ward a ton, though. You're going to have Tony Pollard break 2 50-yard runs on you? Fucking embarrassing. And I'm also getting to this. The Titans players that are throwing up the Shedeur watch, he is lighting you up. He has almost 400 all-purpose yards on you and 4 touchdowns. And you were a 1-win team going into this. And you beat a 3-win team. So what? And, what are you trying to brag about? Are you bragging for the toilet bowl? I will never understand that. When you're on an atrocious team. If you're on even a good team, even an average team, celebrate all you want. I'm all for celebrating. I'm not for celebrating when you are the worst team in the league. The worst team. Kevin Stefanski is garbage. Everyone, and Shedur's starting to look good, but man, that pissed me off. This game pissed me the fuck off. Let's go over to the Isaiah Likely touchdown. I just don't understand. First, what? They only had 14. There's no fucking way, bro. The Steelers' leading rusher Kenneth Gainwell had 15 yards. Oh my god. Jalen Warren had 1.6 yards per carry. Oh my god. DK had the best game of his Steelers tenure. Oh my goodness, Lamar. 71 passer rating. You're letting Aaron outplay you. My god. But let's talk about that Isaiah Likely touchdown. I really don't understand the criteria for a touchdown anymore because he had 2 feet. And he even took a third step, right? So what does that qualify as? That qualifies as a football move. That third step is a football move. So he had 2 steps, possession, and did a football move. The play's over. The play is therefore over. The play is ruled dead. The second he has 2 feet, control, and he goes for a football move, possession is over. Clock stops. It's a touchdown. So you don't get to make a little more baby swipes at the ball. You don't. The clock is done, and I thought that was what refs were taught. You do a catch. So why can't you swipe out the ball out of bounds then? If apparently you can, like, he can hit the ground, you know, he can have the 3rd foot out of bounds and you can get a fumble. That is the mindset of this call. That is the overall core. That imagine a guy goes out of bounds, 2 feet, 3rd step goes out of bounds. You can swipe for the ball and it's a fumble. What are we talking about here? He had 2 feet and he did a 3rd step. And then they want to call that, so the Aaron Rodgers, they can call that a catch when he had less control than Isaiah Likely. Aaron Rodgers literally had less control of the ball than Isaiah Likely. It's just, then the play was called dead. But the thing is, the Isaiah Likely call was never called dead when it should have been. It should have been touchdown, whistle, there is nothing. It is one of the worst calls I've ever seen. One of the worst calls I've ever seen. And it loses the Ravens the game. And it loses them the playoffs pretty much. I mean, it's an awful call. Awful call. Awful call. I want to talk about the desperation of some teams to start injured players. This kind of ropes into 3 different games. I'll put them all side by side. This kind of ropes into, for me, the Amon-Ra St. Brown play, which ended up not costing them anything. But, you know, we'll get to I saw Javonte Williams. We'll get to Amon-Ra St. Brown after we talk about Daniel Jones and Jaden Daniels. So Daniel Jones, he has a fucking fracture in his fibula or femur, whatever the fucking tibula. Are you? He has a crack in the big bone that helps you stand. It really is not that complicated. I don't care how desperate you are. I don't care. You don't put a player's health like that in jeopardy. Even if the player wants to play. If the player wants to play, he's like, man, coach, I can do it. Coach. I'm gonna say, shut the fuck up and sit down. Shut the fuck up. You have a fracture in I bet you think you can do it. And maybe you can do it. But this is the worst case scenario. Best case scenario was the Amon-Ra St. Brown play. Now, did he even do that good? No. He had 6 receptions for 92 yards. Well, that is good. I'm not saying that wasn't good. But a lot of it was inflated from 2 receptions, especially the last one was almost a 40-yard reception. Before that, he had like 4 catches for 50 yards, which is good. That is good. That isn't good for an Alpha 1 receiver, but that is good for just a receiver. And that's all they wanted him at Amon-Ra as, kind of like a decoy forward, Jameson Williams, to open up the field more. But it's just too risky, in my opinion, especially the elite guys, or like the most important guys on your team. Excuse me. Now, if your 3rd string cornerback wants to go out and play injured, I'd be like, I mean, sure, man, do whatever you want, I guess. But if my alpha star top 5 receiver wanted to do that, I'd be like, no, you can't, no. But Dan Campbell plays too emotional, in my opinion. When he goes for 2 a bunch, when he goes on 4th down a bunch, I'm not saying he's not a great head coach. I think he's a great head coach. But I think you have to be emotional, but also logical. And there's a lot of cases where he's not very logical. The logical thing to do here is not to play Amon-Ra St. Brown. But again, they did win. So that's what I'm saying is best case scenario for them, because it did work for them technically. So I can't say anything bad. But let's say Amon-Ra St. Brown gets hurt the next 2 weeks, because originally the timeline was 1 to 2 weeks to return. He's playing the next week. That's absurd. You think he's healthy? I'm just saying there's a chance that later on he gets injured. And this kind of ties into Daniel Jones I want to talk about, is when these guys play injured, this is going to sound super like stupid. I don't know, but pro athletes have full control over their body, not like us regular people, right? They could probably feel every single muscle, they are so in tune with how the body needs to move to be efficient, the proper way for the body to move. For us, we might have stiff hips, like our ankles, whatever. They don't have that. They are perfect, these pro athletes know the way their body needs to function. So when they have an injury, it literally throws the whole body off of how it's supposed to function. So when Daniel Jones has, let's say, what I don't know if it's on his right leg or left leg, but when he's used to putting this much pressure on this leg and he can't, he has to compensate, which means his whole body has to compensate, which means all his muscles and tendons and everything have to overcompensate for the lack of bone strength that he has right now. So every single thing in his body is kind of swayed over, like, because he has to change his balance, has to change his, just, I hope I'm making sense here, but he has to completely change the way he plays because of the way he's hurt. And that leads to injury. And this is exactly what I mean. From what could not, so his, he didn't snap his femur, right? He didn't snap his leg. What happened? He tore his Achilles. Because his body had to overcompensate for that leg injury. So his body had to overcompensate for that leg injury, causing too much stress on it and causing it to tear, which now ruins him for an entire year. This selfishness of this Colts, and I'm kind of passionate about this because Daniel Jones, his stock has never been higher. His stock has never been higher, and he could have made so much fucking money. I don't know what deal he's on, but he could have made so much fucking money. And now the Colts injure him because they wanted to make the playoffs. And guess what? You play him and you still lose. And that's my exact point. Same thing with Jay and Daniels and the Commanders. You played your quarterbacks, and what happened? Nothing. I can understand the rationale for playing Daniel Jones if I'm the Colts. I physically cannot, I don't know why I said physically. I cannot understand the rationale to play Jaden Daniels. When you have 3 wins, when you're 3-9, you're kicked out of playoff contention. Why are you playing him? You know who he is. Just let him get healthy. That's just my rationale on that one. They didn't want to, I guess they wanted to be competitive, but being competitive, and you lost 31-0 to a mid Vikings team. I'm not going to say mid. I mean, they're a quarterback, right? And he played great. J.J. McCarthy played great. Let's go back over to this. But yeah, Shane Steichen, it was a bad decision. From top to bottom, I know the ownership was all for it. I know Chris Ballard was all for it too. What a terrible decision to play him. And now he's out for a year. He's going to miss the start of next year. If you want it, I don't know what his contract is. If he's back next year, he's not going to play probably until the middle of the season. So now you ruined half of next season. I know you wanted to buy and play now, but could he have gotten healthier and came back week 1 of the playoffs maybe? Or week 15, 16? I just hate that for Colts fans and for everything, but man, it's such bullshit. And shout out Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence is playing great. ETN had a great game. Liam Cohen and Lawrence are really hitting their stride. And Jacoby Myers has been a welcome addition to this offense. Brian Thomas finally at the top here. It's usually Jacoby Myers, and Tim Patrick had a great game also. But yeah, overall, I'm impressed with the Jaguars too. But man, this Colts awful. Cowboys lose. Cowboys basically out of the playoffs. I mean, I was talking about, sorry, I guess you weren't talking. I was talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown. I fully, truly, in my bones, if that happened to CD, I wouldn't want him to play because it's just not worth it. But the thing is that, like I said, this was best case scenario, so I can't, what am I going to say? I mean, they won the game, so I'm going to say it's a bad decision. It's not going to be a bad decision unless he gets hurt, but you can't predict injuries, but in my opinion, you just don't play a guy that's that hurt. And Gibbs kind of took a lot of heat off of Amon-Ra St. Brown. He didn't have much on the ground, but man, through the air, he was uber efficient. I mean, look at this. They're all average receptions, 10 yards. Good Lord. I mean, I guess take away David Montgomery. I guess take away I don't even know how to say his name. I keep wanting to say Tesla, but I know it's not that. But these top 3 guys, they're all getting 11 yards a pop. And good Lord. I mean, secondary is atrocious currently. CD threw up the Tua fingers, so he's out. Ryan Flanoy had a great, fantastic game. Dak Prescott, besides the interceptions, he also had a great game, but Savone Revel, I mean, he's a rookie, right? And he didn't play the first half of the season, so I'm not going to harp too much on him. But the secondary is atrocious. The front seven's doing their job, 100 yards on the ground, it's not great. I'm not going to say it's great, but okay, well, David Montgomery getting 10 yards a carry is awful, but a lot of that was inflated on a 35-yard. Oh, you don't know about that. The 35-yard run, a lot of that's inflated. So 5 carries on what? 25 yards? That's 5 yards to carry, not that bad. So the front seven is doing their job, but the secondary is giving up just chunk play after chunk play after chunk play after chunk play. I mean, good lord, now it's the secondary that fucking sucks. So we just fucking suck. When I say we, Cowboys suck. Lions, they're not better than the Packers. I think they can compete with the Bears, but they're not better than the Packers. My mic just fell. Do they play? Oh, they play the Bears. Oh, the Rams. I don't think they're going to lose that game. That's going to be a good game, though. Vikings, Jason McCarthy had a fantastic game. Fantastic. I'm not going to say fantastic. Whoa, yeah, I am going to say fantastic. 129 passer rating, 16-23, 160 yards, 3 touchdowns. I want to say thank you to 9. I was going against Justin Jefferson this week in fantasy. And, it's kind of weird because this is my fantasy playoff. If I was a commissioner, it would be next week because the Packers, the Patriots, and the 49ers are on bye. I have Drake May and Christian McCaffrey on bye. That's just not how the playoffs should be played. You should be at full strength in playoffs. But, I mean, I'm not going to complain. But just thank you, 9, because Justin Jefferson only had 3 points. But who gives a fuck? They were running the ball well. I don't care about individual stats, really, unless he's on my fantasy team. Vikings did what they had to do. They ran the ball well. They allowed nothing offensively from the Commanders. I don't know what else to say. They still aren't going to make the playoffs. This Broncos team, they're number 1 in the AFC. Beating the Raiders gets you to look, these are back-to-back meaningless football games. Meaningless football games. Meaningless back-to-back that just improve and buff their record. And, I like 3 and 4 weeks. 3 and 4 weeks. 3 in the past 4 weeks have been meaningless football that they won. They've all won by 1 possession. This is what infuriates me about this Broncos team. They can only beat teams by 1 possession, except if you're the Cowboys. Every other game, they are winning by, except for the Bengals, who have atrocious defense. Oh my goodness. They beat the Titans by 1 possession. They lost to the Colts. I think this was the BS game, but they lost to the Chargers also. Wow. Okay, take away the Bengals game. They beat the Eagles by 1 possession. They beat the Jets by 1 possession. They beat the Giants by 1 point. They beat the Cowboys. They beat the Texans by 1 possession. They beat the Raiders by 1 possession. They beat the Chiefs by 1 possession. Are you sensing a pattern here? This team cannot put away teams. And I understand in the playoffs you kind of whatever, defense, I don't care. It's not even that good of a, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not good. But, I'm just infuriated by this team. This is the most fraudulent first seed team I think I've ever seen, ever. The Chiefs win is cool, I guess. The Texans win is cool, I guess. The Cowboys win is cool, but a lot of you hate on the Cowboys anyways. So this win means fucking nothing. Because a lot of y'all say Cowboys suck. Because this was before all the trades, so the Cowboys suck. So this win means nothing. The only win they have that's good is this Eagles game. That's the only win. And I'm sure I could find something in there to bitch about. I'm sure I could. They're going to lose this game. I kind of want to go for the Jaguars in this game. They have 4 straight pretty tough games. They already lost to this team. And I think the Chiefs could just want to hate on the Broncos because I hate the Broncos and the Packers are, oh my goodness. But it's just that this offense is not even that good. It's really not even, it's the most fraudulent first seed team I think I've ever seen. I would put them, if it was up to me, if I could do a college football playoff committee, that bullshit ass whatever, I would put them in the 5th seed. They're not that good. The Bills completely stole a win in Buffalo. Stole this win. Joe Burrow had, first of all, 1 interception. This screen pass, man, that sucks, man. That sucks. That sucks. It's just a great defensive play. I really think it's just is it even a bad Joe Burrow play? No, it's just a great defensive play. And what was the other interception? There was another one, and I thought it wasn't his fault, but, I didn't want to do that. I thought it wasn't his fault. But yeah, he did everything he could, and the 2 interceptions are just so tough. They literally had nothing on the ground. Oh my God, the Bills had 2 75-yard rushers. Oh my God, they had nothing. T. Higgins had a great game. And guess who I played in fantasy? T. Higgins. Jamar Chase really did nothing, actually. It just sucks. The Bills completely stole this win. Josh Allen stole this win. Josh Allen played fantastic. My God, 2 tight ends as your 2 leading receivers. Oh my, they spread, holy shit, he spread the ball around. But it's so tough, man, because I don't think it's Joe Burrow's fault. See, but the interceptions were his fault, but I think it's just a better defensive play. 10 of 12 on 3rd down. Wow. That's just such a tough loss. Such a tough loss. And I think the Bills are still in contention for Super Bowl. Even if they're probably not going to win the division, I still think they're in contention. The Buccaneers are ass. So Baker had a 55 passer rating. Wow, he played, well, he didn't play 60 minutes of football. Let's see how many minutes of football he played. He played 32 minutes of football and had 122 yards. And also, Bucky was pretty inefficient. I would know. He's on my fantasy team, so I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Take away this 32-yard run that's inflating his stats. 14 carries for 20 yards. Awful. Jesus, I mean, just a terrible game. And I know that the fucking what's it called? The turf was all wet and they were slipping. Oh, I don't give a fuck because Tyler Shuck was running great. Tyler Shuck and Devin Neal ran great. Devon Vele was our number 1 receiver. Are you kidding me? For a Bucs team that was competing for a playoff spot, you pretty much are just handing it to the Panthers. I mean, just embarrassing. Rams are still a great team. I feel like I'm not talking about one game, but I mean, there's like I just don't care about it at all. Oh, Dolphins, Jets, that means nothing. Seahawks, Falcons, that means nothing. The Rams, Blake Corum, what the fuck is, what is happening? Guess who I have on my fantasy team? I have both of them. Guess who I started? Kyron Williams. Well, Corum was breaking like 30, 40-yard runs. Like, it was insane. And he got the goal line carries. Kyron got 1 goal line carry. Or one possession of goal line carry. They usually, but Corum was in every other goal line carry, and Puka, I love Puka on my fantasy team also. But does this really teach us anything? No, it doesn't. The Rams are still I think they're the best team in the league. I think they're an actual contender, unlike the Broncos. Texans, Chiefs. Holy shit, he had 3 interceptions? I didn't know I was half awake watching the game. I felt like shit last night. Jesus. 3 interceptions. He had a 19 pass. 19? Oh, I remember all the drops. That's what I remember. Travis Kelce is a bum right now. I mean, he had plenty of drops. Rashee Rice had a big-time drop. Someone else had a big-time drop after drop after drop. Oh my God, Woody Marks had 26 carries. Shit. This is just a great defensive team. And I think it was Devin McCourty or Jason. I don't know who the fuck. Whichever twin it was. They said this is a Super Bowl defense, and I think I agree. This is a Super Bowl defense. But, a Super Bowl defense, but this is not a Super Bowl offense. Let's not get this mistaken. They're not even okay enough to be a Super Bowl offense. They're not, it's just, and I understand the Chiefs are a cool team. I mean, in past years, they have been regarded as a good defense. The Chiefs this year are just not the same Chiefs. I truly just don't think the Texans are equipped enough offensively to capitalize on this great defense. But maybe they can, if they can win games like this in December, in January, then maybe I'm wrong. But if I'm leaning more towards, it's a great, fantastic, great, awesome, great, fantastic, awesome defense. Just offensively, Stroud I don't think Stroud can lead you. I don't know. I don't. Especially not with these weapons. Besides Nico Collins, everyone else, Jaden Higgins and Dalton Schultz are great. Shut the fuck up. You think Jaden Higgins is good enough to be wide receiver 2 on a Super Bowl team? Oh, Jaden Higgins is great. Shut up. Okay. Oh, I did want to talk about the Packers Bears, I guess, but I guess we can talk about was it the 4th down play? I could have swore he could have ran it in. I swore he could have ran it in. He looked like he could have scrambled it in. But, I guess we can watch it. Oh, I lied. We can't watch it. Let's try one more time. How is this not working? I have like $1,000 PC. How is this possibly not working? I swore he could have ran it in. Or, not, oh, ran it in. No, sorry. Not ran it in. Run for the, I feel, maybe he can't. I feel like right now, oh, but he has a great angle though. He has a, but even Swift right here, I think if you pass it right here, Swift can make it. But I guess, Quay Walker and 33 have a great angle on it. Yeah, no, I lied. They don't. Maybe I'm, but like I'm saying that he doesn't take this round angle. He just sprints. He sprints here, but they have great angles. I just think I don't know. Like he's rounding. You see, he's rounding it right here. I'm saying instead of like continuing his path over here, he just cuts it up there. Look, he's all the way back here behind the 0 of the 20-yard line. Look, he starts right here. He's back here. I'm saying, fucking let's get here. Let's get here. Maybe is that even possible for me? I mean, maybe he is doing that. Maybe I'm not in the NFL. I'm not in the NFL. But man, tough. But yeah, that's it. Appreciate you listening to me yap. Really, I thought this was a great week of football. We still have the Eagles and Chargers, so we'll see. But yeah, appreciate it.